So the time is 2 a.m. I'm sitting here in my pajama pants, hoping that I won't wake up the dogs. When you're a wannabe successful filmmaker like I am, you just need to break things down, yo. Going full behind the scenes style, yeah? I actually was this close to giving up, but I decided last week that I'd be done with it and just release it with some minor tweaks. This is my first behind the scenes thing ever, so I can't promise that it won't be completely useless. Let's do this. My sister-in-law, Hannah, is now part of the Boarding Round universe, and she has no choice but to make an appearance. Being reluctant to participate as usual while visiting us, I just started setting up the lights anyways, while Tiffany told her to be a good sister and must be a star of this unnecessary movie. That's how professionals do it, yo. After a couple of takes, she finally got into it, and we shot the thing in less than 2 hours, just in time for dinner, yo. We basically wanted Hannah to go down into the cellar, put on some firewood, something kinda scary, and the door closing. The end. Now this sounds pretty straightforward, and should be pretty easy to put together. But life is life. Na. So the cracks started to show during the editing process. The speed and timing in this shot were off, so that was problematic. The monster hand thing didn't quite work out, so that got scrapped. The rubbery fingers were too long, so we couldn't make it look good. I wanted it to end with this shot panning upwards, and some kind of monster showing up jump scare style in the window before the credits, but it just felt lame. So then began the phase I would generally call the polishing a turd phase. You know deep in your heart that your material is lacking due to bad planning and execution, but you want to take the lazy route and hopefully fix it in post. That didn't go well either. What do you do when your movie sucks? Reshoots. Remember when I told you we shot it in less than 2 hours?
I lied.
So I just put the camera on a tripod and did some shots by myself. The next day, I go down into the cellar, walk inside, the door closes, and some kinda jump scare. Easy enough, so I thought. Polishing a turd, phase 2. Hey. No. Oh nej! Again, I got stuck in post with yet another useless idea. More reshoots! Due to lack of a proper location, I shot this upstairs to the immersive Panasonic's highly lackluster autofocus. Then we shot this scene downstairs, after Tiffany came up with this idea while watching the anime show Full Metal Alchemist. Korva, pudelmonster. Yamero! With the shooting process, or lack thereof, out of the way, let's get into other things. Camera gear. My usual setup. Panasonic GH4, Tamron 17 to 50mm f2.8 lens, plus the Lens Turbo 2 speed booster, and this generic shoulder rig that I borrowed. Lighting. 2 newer CN304 LED panels. Not the best quality to be honest, but to get the job done. For this one scene, I used a China ball as diffusion because I felt like it. With the camera's white balance set to tungsten, 3200 Kelvin, daylight balanced lights at 5600 Kelvin becomes cooler, which I like for nighttime shots. I like to set up lights as simple and as quickly as possible to keep the flow going. So a cold source from outside, a warm source from the inside. A light coming from the side. A light coming from behind, slightly to the left, to prevent it being in the shot. A light coming from the stairs, with the fire slightly illuminating her face. Here you could almost see the light source, but it's kinda hidden behind the scratchy window. So the lights keep on moving all the time, because the space was so tight. A light coming from the stairs again, and I just put one light straight on the floor to get some light on the face. Now the light is coming from behind again, and another light is hidden behind this thing, bouncing against the wall. For this scene, I just held one of the LED panels to light up my face. I know that I'm not a master cinematographer, but I would highly advise that you start playing around with lights, even if it feels intimidating at first. This is not a VFX heavy piece by any means, but there are some added elements. Note that I won't go into detail every step I took, because that would take forever. So here's the before and after. So the first step was to use the warp stabilizer to stabilize my shaky footage. Then I used the 3D camera tracker so I could apply elements which followed the camera. Added a stargazing sky, which I masked out around the house. I used levels to make it darker and added some Gaussian blur and channel blur. Then I added a fog element with the screen blending mode to make it transparent. Also added a blue tint to match the sky better. And some puffy smoke, which I also gave a blue tint. Finally, I added some ground fog. Oh, I almost forgot. I also removed Tiffany because she was in the window when I shot this. Fix it in post, for life. There's some added fog here and there, nothing too fancy. This one was a bit tricky. I had to track the door, make it freeze for a while, then fast forward it to make it sync better with her reaction. Let's see, this shadow is fake, but I'm not going into that, because I'm lazy. And finally, our finest actor Haddock with a crappy mullet wig. I added a solid layer, masked out 2 little dots, and added a light burst effect. Then I added some junk that I masked really poorly. Added a black fill, a little Gaussian blur, and noise. Finally, I added the CC spotlight effect to sorta hide the edges. In the final version there's a blinking effect as well. The eye was just a blue tinted solid that I masked around the eye. Changed the blending mode to lighten. Added light burst. There's also a spotlight thingy going on. I don't know anymore. I was unable to get good tracking data, so I moved the eye basically frame by frame. Sound. 95% of all the foliage? Sounds, whatever, was recorded using a low-budget Android phone. No external microphone plugged in, just the built-in microphone. I just made sure to have the phone fairly close to whatever sound I was recording, and I got okay results. A weird little side note. I actually made Hannah's voice, just pitched it up 3 semitones. Eric, 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 Eric. Man, I gotta wrap this up. Stupid nightlife. And finally, the music was made with the Synphobia 2 VST plugin. Just a couple of notes and effects, really. A very, very original score, I might say. So, I hoped you enjoyed this, whatever this was. So, stay creative, be epic, and please subscribe. Ciao, bye. Jävla bra, nu har vi det.
Men du hade ju benen så här upp i soffan innan och liksom lite så här. Ska man sitta så som de gör på film?
Jag är alltid sådär. Hold on to your